I'm sorry, kiddo, I really am. You have a good soul. And I hate giving good people bad news.
I'm Tony, he's Mike, and today we are doing a viewer request, and it's also part of our month of love. We are doing Maquia When the Promised Flowers Bloom.
Maquia, if you should ever meet someone from the outside, you must never fall in love. For if you fall to love, you'll be truly alone.
But if I meet someone, then how could I be left alone?
A lone child meets another lone child, and so they set off into the world.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
that is
I
it.
feel pretty
Yes.
good about that.
Yeah, that's very good. Written, directed by Mari Okada. I'm going with that.
Okay, yeah, I'll back you up 100% on this one. This actually is a film that has two casts. It has the original Japanese cast, and then it has a cast for the US dub, so they knew they were releasing it over here. This has become a thing now where a lot of like movies and shows, they'll actually shoot it in one language and then have the exact same cast, and then they'll rewind it and reshoot the exact same scene, but they'll reshoot it in English because they know that they're exporting it over here.
So the Sergio Leone model has come back.
Well, he just dubbed over everybody. He didn't care. But this is a hard one. So there's a race of Iliath?
Iorf. I think it's Iorf
Yeah.
is what they're called.
And the Eorf weave the days together.
They're a long-lived race of textile producers, which I guess they export their goods. Maybe, maybe not.
They do,
I
yes.
don't know.
They do sell their hobby cloth. So
And so there's apparently too, as they weave, they can, like, I guess kind of like their thoughts or messages can like end up in a textiles.
We are longer lived than any other race, but despite that fact, we seemingly remain eternally youthful. But now, all of that magic, that wonder has departed the world. That is why the separated must always weave the hibial cloth. Memories dwindle and fade with the passing of years. The hibial will always remember.
Which is kind of silly. It doesn't really go too far with that thing. It's kind of a useless plot point.
I was going to say, actually, it's not quite useless. I think what it is
It's borderline useless.
That they're weaving, whoever the weaver is weaving a story into the cloth itself, and you have to know how to actually read the story. Which it's more of an emotional thing, more of a tie-in thing, more of a, hey, here's a way to expose this character's motivations sort of thing. That's how it's used in it. But it's not a major plot point by any stretch. It's only brought up a couple of times.
That aside, just to kind of quickly go through Maquia's plot, because if we try to talk about everybody's fucking plot, we'll be here all damn day.
Yeah.
So anyways, this kingdom, what's it called?
We're going to butcher all the names here today.
Mazart?
Mezarte, I think is what is it? Something like that. Yeah, Mercarte or Mezarte, something along
anyways, they attack with their dragons. They attack the Eorfs. And the reason why they do that is to... I forgot what the reason is. It doesn't really matter. Just hang on. You can come back to it in a second.
All right, yeah.
So they attack it. After the battle, Maquia finds a baby and takes the baby in. And since they're kind of after these people for their textiles and stuff like that, she has to go, hiding and shit like that. So she kind of hides in plain sight, trying to raise this baby.
She's an Eorf, isn't she?
I never could trick you, Daryl. I'm sorry.
Eorf cloth fetches quite a high price. She'll end up making me a fair bit of coin.
It shows the struggles of her trying to stay in hiding, raise this kid, and then also with the fact that since they're such a long-lived race, at some point, Ariel, who is the
adopted son,
the adopted son, starts to grow up, and people think like it's her brother or something like that, and
your sister's got quite a butt on her.
Never noticed.
Anyway, so there comes to a point where he grows up, he's becoming a man, and then there's another big battle where the Mazarte are attacked by the other kingdoms. They join forces and take out the Mazarte, and after that battle, or during that battle actually, it kind of comes full circle, where Maquia then goes and helps Ariel's wife deliver their son.
It's you! I'll get help! Wait, no! It's Ariel's! It's his child!
Yeah. And then Maquia leaves to go back to her thing because she doesn't really belong there anymore. She's done her job. She's done her motherly duty stuff.
I wasn't able to be a mother to you. I'm sorry.
That's enough! You taught me everything, Mom. To be kind and strong and brave. You taught me what it means to love someone.
She comes back many years later to this village, and you see her great-granddaughter.
Yes.
And then you go see Ariel, who is now a grandpa and now on his deathbed.
Yes.
And they say their goodbyes, and that's
it.
Kind of the end of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. Trying to explain this movie is almost impossible because there's so much going on. Yeah. But it's interwoven so expertly. This film is so well crafted, and there's so much because basically Mazarte, he'll throw the name up here, whatever the name of the kingdom is. I'm just going to say Mazarte, so if I'm wrong, so be it. But they are a human kingdom, and they have got these dragons, which were a magic creature, and they were using those to basically drive all the other kingdoms into submission. And then they found out about this long-lived race, and their goal was to kidnap and attempt to breed that line into their royal lineage so that they could be a long-lived race as well, even if not, by Iliath standards, by human standards at the very least. What winds up happening, one of the big plot points is that the dragons actually start developing this disease where they essentially go rabid and then burst into flames and die, and it's spreading through. So they're losing their magic, their big, game changer, the thing that they've been using to threaten everybody else.
The strength of the Renato is the symbol of Mazarte. It's the only force we can afford to deploy. When the last of the Renato falls, the other kingdoms will not hesitate.
If they cannot be saved, we will need a power to replace the Renato.
We have been granted the chosen blood.
Commander, what of the Eorf girl that you captured? How does she fare as consort to Prince Hazel?
There is a princess that is one of the Iliath that is locked into the castle, and she's forced to actually give birth to an heir who's then raised as a human and is never allowed to actually see her mother.
Yeah, that was
Ilia?
Ilia or Lilia or something
like that, yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, it's funny because at the beginning she's supposed to be like the strong-willed, free-spirited one.
Yes.
But yeah, she's the one that actually ends up being caged and locked up and is a prisoner.
Yes.
Effectively in her own kingdom, even though she's a princess and all that shit. But since she couldn't develop a what the hell are they called again?
A Habiel?
Iorf.
Wherever
their race is called.
Hair the color of a dawning moon. Golden rings within the cornea. A low body temperature are the signs of the Eorf people. I regret to say, Princess Medna shows almost none of these traits, Your Majesty.
There was actually a half-blood in this one, and he is introduced to Maquia. They meet when Maquia finds the dead mother and the baby that she then raises as her own. And he, basically says, I'm a half-blood. I don't kind of fit into either, so I just kind of run around and do my own thing on that one. And he does actually have the traits because he shows up substantially later in the film, and he is also not aged. This also deals with the fact that as Ariel gets older, that he realizes that Maquia is not his mother, and then he starts developing feelings for her, romantic feelings for her, and then he realizes that, oh, not cool, because there's a point where he refuses to call her mother.
Why do you still keep this thing around? How long are you gonna treat me like a kid?
You are always going to be my child. That's something that will never change.
I don't think I can be your son anymore.
This is amazingly grown up. For a film that is geared towards a teenage audience, this actually doesn't treat the audience like they're stupid. And this is like one of those traits that we've hailed a lot of Asian cinema and a lot of anime for, is that they don't treat their audience like they're idiots, unlike an American film company would do, Disney. And they also don't sugarcoat anything.
No, they don't.
It's a very grown-up, very eye-opening coming-of-age film.
Well, there's a lot of versions of love in here. There's a motherly love.
Yes.
There's sibling love in here.
Yes.
There's obsessive love
Yes.
in here with Krim, I think is who it is.
Yeah, Krim is the name.
Who is was supposed to be the boyfriend of Lilia, I think that's what her name is.
Yeah.
And he will not let that shit go.
No, he won't. And then
and he dies for it.
I understand. I do. Let's greet the dark. Let's end it together. I will not allow anyone to harm our Hibio ever again.
And then there's also the family that Maquia lives with. She's there, she's raising Ariel, but then the lady that she's living with has 2 sons of her own, and he becomes infatuated with, the oldest son becomes infatuated with her, and then as he ages into an adult and becomes a soldier in the Mercats, whatever, their army, he professes his love for her, like straight up, but it's not in a I idolize you way. It's in like, you're beautiful and you're fascinating, and I always thought so. It's a very mature and honest kind of love.
Wanna come back to the farm with me?
But Ling...
It'll be perfect. The price of goat milk has gone up. You can bring Ariel.
We just bring you trouble.
I want you to be trouble. Ever since I was little, I would do anything for you, Maquia. Just think about it.
And that's the other thing too, is that Dita, who is Ariel's wife at the end of the film, they grow up together. Dita is kind of cruel and makes fun of Ariel's mother, Maquia, and then grows up and regrets it.
He makes fun of Ariel.
Yeah.
Because Ariel is a mama's boy.
Yeah.
Like big time and stuff like that. And she was just jealous because she wanted Ariel's attention. But Maquia got all the attention.
Because Maquia was so beautiful, and Dita's kind of an average looking.
When we were little kids, you liked your mom, and I said you were weird. I swear I didn't mean it. Your mom was so beautiful and so kind. I was so foolish. I used to be so jealous of her. I wanted you to love me too.
So for me, there's a couple downfalls to this movie. Number one, since it's a drama, it's extremely melodramatic.
Yes.
And there are some elements of it that didn't land. The whole Hibble thing, the whole Hibiol with the story woven and all that bullshit didn't land for me. And then the Ronaldo, the dragons, they're only used so sparingly in there. It's almost like you could have kind of written them off. There's a little payoff in it at the very end where, Lila jumps off, fly, I'm free, but then Maquia actually saves her. Saves her on the Ronaldo, and they fly off back to their land.
I am Lelia of the Eorf. I am wild, strong-willed. I am reckless. I am free. I'll always be free. I can fly.
There is an attempted suicide in this film. Just a heads up on that one. Just in case you're sensitive to that sort of thing, just know that it's there and it doesn't. Well,
there's
successful.
Again, there's so many adult themes in this thing. Besides just that.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about already. Now that aside, I've said before, and I'll keep saying it: the Japanese know drama.
Yeah.
And they deliver in spades in this one. So if you can get past the melodrama, you will enjoy this. It's not going to be for everybody because it's so melodramatic. So a recommend for me is going to be a bit of a caveat. This is not a gateway anime film. Go somewhere else if you're looking for that. But if this is your type of film, if you like drama and like heartfelt movies, then yes, this is a recommend.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This is equal parts fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It is equal parts drama. And then there's, like I said, thematically, there's so many themes that are covered so well and so interestingly and so differently. Yeah. And I'm going to say that I understand why the Habio cloth subplot is in there, why that's kind of a thing, because this is probably one of those that it'll probably stand out a bit more to you on a second viewing on this one, just because there's so much fabric that's all over the place, in this film.
And don't get me wrong, the metaphors were absolutely not lost on me. I mean, stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Just sometimes they're a little heavy-handed.
You're not wrong about that, but in a film that has so many ingredients, so expertly crafted together, I'm gonna forgive him if there's just a little too much salt in there.
Fair enough.
The Ronaldo I actually think are used just the right amount, and they're cool looking. So you get this need, you'd like to see more of them. You see how big of a threat they are because they overthrow this magical kingdom at the very beginning of it, and they do it really easily too.
Yeah.
But then when you start to see them die, and then it's kind of like we have to hide the fact that our big major power we're losing it. And then you actually get to see what's happening to them, and then you're down to just the very last one. Yeah. And then the payoff for that is phenomenal. I love the payoff for that because it ties everything up so nicely and neatly, but then it just works. Everything about this film
it really does.
Works.
It really does, especially that metaphor at the end where, magic is gone from this world for forever. Like the last remnants literally just flew away.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a sophisticated film. I enjoyed it. I was not expecting it. I knew nothing about this before someone threw it in our recommendations. So do we know who recommended this?
I'll throw it up here.
All right. Well, thank you for recommending it because I genuinely enjoyed this one. And I watch a lot of anime, but I had not heard anything about this one. Yeah. So for me, this is actually, I'm probably going to wind up buying this one. I really did enjoy it that much. Again, it's not for everybody. But I would recommend you watch it. If you watch this and it's not your jam, then you know what? This is where we put a bookmark on what films I wouldn't recommend to you. But I honestly would recommend this to the vast majority of people out there. So if you're an anime fan or an animation fan or just a fan of an interesting fantasy film that doesn't turn into an action film with swords and armor, this is going to appeal to you. I think this is your jam on that one. So,
all right, that's what I got.
All right, that's what I got. So we will catch you next time.
Quick and dirty.
Wait, was that Maquia? Maquia, the flower bloom.
When the promised flower blooms.
Okay, Maquia when the promised flower blooms. Okay.
Shaka.
When the walls fell.